All right, so basically what we are trying to do is to compile stories of disabled in our Ghanaian society. We want them to share their story, tell you about their reality, so that you can know what they go through on day-to-day basis. Here is a visually impaired man, grown man, and then I'm here to interact with him to understand and appreciate his story. First of all, let's get to know your name.
My name is Afrasa Hazel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Afrasa Hazel.
Hazel, yes.
Okay. Afrasa, please, how old are you?
I am actually 49 now.
49 years
Yes.
old. All right. How did it all start for you?
Okay. This condition that has blinded me is actually called glaucoma. And a lot of people, especially the medics, believe that glaucoma is usually passed on through hereditary or inherited. But in my case, it is not, because I have done a laboratory test to investigate whether I also acquired it through hereditary. But the test, after the laboratory test, the investigation showed that I did not inherit this condition. So in other words, I got it as a result of trauma and impact, and I know where it comes from.
How?
Well, in the late 70s, my father was also among those who fled to Nigeria for better living.
The Ghana must go.
Yes, but I think his was earlier. The Ghana must go time was in 83, but this was in the late 70s.
Okay.
So he went much earlier. But you see, he went there with me alone, because that time he had I and my sister. My sister is the older one. So he decided to go with me and he left my sister. So it was actually later I realized that his marriage had hit the rocks. So he was fleeing to Nigeria and he decided to go with me.
Okay.
So whilst I was there with him, life was so pleasant and enjoyable, because he was doing everything for me. Anything I asked, I got it. Until his spouse, the second woman, came and joined us at Nigeria. And she also had a child, a son, for my father. I was a year older than her child. But my experience with her is very grave, because I remember from the age of 4, as a little boy, I was exposed to so much physical violence without any cause. In fact, it became a systematic thing she did. The moment my father went to work, then immediately she came to me without saying any better thing and just starts beating me. I mean,
just beating you?
Yes, without any reason.
She was a Nigerian?
No, a Ghanaian.
Was a Ghanaian.
Who came to join us there.
All right.
Okay, because she's his spouse. I don't know the kind of arrangement or agreement that was in him.
She was beating you for no reason.
So this is how I got to know that it was her plan to destroy me. You understand? Because I'm talking about brute violence. This is not a situation where she's whipping with a cane because I've done something. She doesn't hit my body so that scars do not appear.
I see.
Most of the impact was on my head and my back. And my father would never see anything there. In fact, I remember on occasions where she continued to hit me until I went unconscious.
I see.
Yes. So you see, let me even tell you something. I remember when I was around 5 years, I had a hernia operation.
Wow.
And my father was to come and take me from the hospital when the time was due. But she came ahead of my father, convinced the doctor, and took me home. But she put me at her back. And whilst we were going, the moment we left the hospital vicinity, she just dropped me from her back and said, "Come on, walk." And because I was so terrified of her, I made every effort to move, but it was impossible because the effect of the anesthesia was still there. So you can see that this is somebody who
was poised
to destroy me, because her son was there and she wanted her son to be the main son of her
Well, your
husband.
father was a wealthy man?
Well, not necessarily, but my father was somebody who had strong charisma.
I see.
Good looking, well built, and gentle.
I see.
You understand?
Is he still alive?
Oh, he's gone. He's late now.
That's fine.
Yeah. So I had very, very rough experience. You can imagine at this age, I still have memory of this
Yeah.
kind of. So this tells you how deep the scar was. So
I see.
in fact, when this blindness started, it started very, very early, you know. And
How did this start? At a point in time, you go to school and then you struggle to see.
exactly. First of all, I remember when I was around 10 or 11, pressure had started building up in my eye, but I did not know.
Okay.
You know, this is something that you need an ophthalmologist to be able to investigate.
Yeah.
So, yes, I did tell my father, but as a child, I don't know how I had to emphasize for him to know that I needed a specialist. Do you get my point?
Yeah, I get you.
Being a father should have known what to do. But I think they just gave me something and just brushed it off. So I remember when I was in JSS 3. That time it was not GH, it was JSS 3.
Yeah.
My eye was aching. So I decided to go home to tell my father. I collected excerpts from school and went to tell my father that my eyes are aching me and I think I have a problem. But in that town, it was a remote town, so I did not have access to an ophthalmologist. I was taken to some doctor who used a torchlight to just look at my eyes and just wrote something for me. So I went back to school. But the truth was that at that time, I had started losing significant part of my eyes. Because I remember at one time I was coming from the dining hall, entering the gate to our hostel, and there was a snake right at the gate waiting to strike me in that sunny afternoon. But I was just going because I couldn't see. You understand? At that time, I wasn't seeing well.
Were you prompted or it happened?
So once I was going, then a friend of mine called Christopher, because of that I will never forget his name, started screaming at me, Afrasa, Afrasa. He was so scared that he couldn't even mention that there's a snake in front of me. He was just screaming and acting in a very strange way. So I stopped. And I was saying, but what is this guy saying? So the moment I stopped and realized that the guy's screaming was so unusual. And that was when probably the snake also realized that that guy was calling attention. So it was the movement of the snake. I just said, shh. So then I said, oh, this must be a snake. Then I hopped back. But
you still didn't even see the snake?
No! Wow. So that is how I got to know that. So I had started losing my sight very early. You understand?
I see.
Now let me tell you, in SS1, I had opted to play lawn tennis for my class because when I was a child, I was going to the club and I was playing racket games. So my colleagues knew I could play. So they said I should play for our class. But as at that time, I did not know that I had lost so much sight that even a tennis ball couldn't be seen. I didn't know.
I see.
So I went for the tournament. Everybody was there, my friends and all my classmates. And when the game started, my opponent was to start the service. As I posed to receive his service, he served the ball. I was waiting for the ball. The ball had passed, and I did not know that the ball had passed. It was so embarrassing.
You know, in terms of the challenge with the eye, we have the long-sightedness and the short. Which one was?
So the truth is that I thought once I'm given glasses, I'll be okay.
Okay.
But the truth is, this was a very major eye disorder. You are not short-sighted.
Okay.
You are not long-sighted. Your image is blurred. You cannot accommodate because if you walk through the sun and you enter the dining hall, the whole place is like night time.
Wow.
So my knee, my shin, I kicked benches and hurt my shin so badly. You know. So in fact, it became so serious that now news got to my parents that no, your son does not see. In fact, it took my father's own friend to call him and say, are you aware that your son does not see? In fact, it was that man who pressured my father that he should take me to a professional ophthalmologist to see what is happening. So in fact, I was in SS2. Can you imagine?
It has developed
very good. Look at when this thing has started.
Yeah.
And in SS2, by this time, my desk was now brought to the front of the blackboard.
Oh, that was so bad.
It was serious. And even there, I could still not see.
Wow.
I have to get up and go to the board to go and look closely at something to come and write.
I get it. Were you able to write the final exams?
I wrote it miraculously. I don't even know how I passed. But I just passed with that basic requirement to help me proceed. You understand?
I see.
And even proceeding was a problem because my parents did not think I could proceed. They knew I couldn't see. So they were rather looking for school for my younger brother.
What was the reaction of the woman who had married your
The truth, let me tell you something.
Around that time, what was the reaction?
You look at the reaction. When I saw the ophthalmologist for the very first time, the ophthalmologist used his device to look into my eye. And the moment he looked into my eye, he shouted, "What? Whose child is this?" And when he said, "Whose child is this?" I was expecting my stepmother, who had taken me to the hospital, to say,
respond.
"Oh." She kept quiet, silent. So the doctor rephrased the question and said, "Who brought this boy here?" Still, she did not respond.
Wow.
And whilst I was sitting there, that was when I realized that she must be feeling guilty. That is why she's not talking. Because I know what I had gone through, and I was sure that it is the impact of
what she went through
exactly
from childhood.
So she did not talk. So this doctor now said, "Let's check his eye pressure." And when they were checking my eye pressure, the device they had at that time could not read the eye pressure.
Wow.
They had to adjust it specially and add an extra weight so that it can press on the eye to read the pressure. The pressure was so high that the man said, "No, only a blind eye should have this kind of pressure."
Wow.
So in fact, I was told that I needed an urgent operation. All right? But the ophthalmologist also told the nurse that, but in fact, the operation is not even necessary. He's already blind. That's what he said. And at that moment, I didn't know what to do.
You were sad.
I was just so sad.
Yeah. Your mother finally came when the doctor called?
No, where I was taken to was in a different state where they had facility.
I am saying that when the doctor called, I didn't get the pictures to whether the woman who followed you came.
No, you see what happened was that when I was to go and see the doctor, my father, we had to travel. So my father, because of his job, he couldn't take me to the hospital.
Yes.
He asked my stepmother to take me
and
to
I'm
the
saying
hospital.
that when the doctor called, did she appear?
She did. She was in that place, but she did not respond.
She did not respond. She never.
You know, there are other nurses there too. So she did not even talk at all. She pretended as if she did not know.
Oh, but this
anything.
woman was somewhere.
Yes. So that's how I got to know that this is deliberate.
Very, that was very much. So around this time, you were done with your WASI?
No. Not yet.
The SSC back then.
So you see, this doctor, the nurses told him that, though he's saying I'm already blind, but still they were insisting that he should do the operation. So now they had to find a way of forcing the pressure to come down. So I was given medications to go and use for 1 week. I came back and still it was still high. Wow. So they gave me stronger pills to use for 4 days. Wow. And this time it brought it down. So now I was
prepared. See a bit.
No, it's already gone.
Wow.
The essence of bringing down the pressure is to be able to do surgery, because with this pressure, if you put a knife in the eye, it will burst.
Oh,
do you get it?
I get it.
With this pressure, once you put a knife, it will just poof.
Whoa, okay.
So they have to bring down the pressure. That's why they were working on the pressure.
I see.
So after the surgery, it became worse. I went to school and I was totally blind.
Wow.
Terrible. Wow. So whilst I was writing my WASI, I remember my brother, that's the woman's son, was by my side because we use the same surname, so we sit together. And unfortunately, at that time, I had a little fever. So that very little side which I was going to use to look at the book, the fever too had taken away. So I was just there not see anything. I just put my head on the table. My favorite subject, mathematics. Nobody had beaten me in mathematics in my class until I left that school. My favorite subject, I was sitting there, not seeing anything. I just put my head on the desk and everybody was writing. I was just insulting my brother that he's a fool. He can't even take my paper and write for me, knowing my problem. If I were him, I would have done that at that time. But
your brother, that was the other woman's son.
I was older than him by 1 year, but
you were still in the same class.
Exactly.
I see.
You understand?
So
he solved the questions and on his paper and gave me to copy. I said,
you can't copy.
Fool, I cannot see and you're giving me something to copy.
Wow.
So I just sat it down. Then when it was getting to time, I just called him and said, please read question 1 for me. He read it to me. I paid attention and just solved it.
Wow.
As much as I could.
Wow.
Went to another, please read the next question. So I just did what I could.
Wow.
So I managed to just get the basic credit that can take me forward.
To the next level.
Yes.
I get you. That was a very bad experience.
Terrible.
I don't know. That was very terrible. So now you come out from the school space. You are done with the exams. And now you're blind. And let's see how society will now react towards you. Already the family. I don't know why your father wasn't in. It looked like father wasn't in control of the house because
he was not in control.
Yeah.
He was not in control because I don't even understand how he could not see the changes in me as a child. You understand? He never even had time to sit me down to know my problems.
In all this moment, nobody visited you from Ghana?
No. No, we were in a remote place in Nigeria, very remote town.
And you were not speaking with any of your relatives?
No. I had not even known or heard anything about my own mother.
Wow.
In fact, I got to a point I was beginning to miss my mother.
Oh.
And asking, but where's my mother?
So bad.
You know?
And what was your father saying anytime you asked of him?
No, I never asked him. I was asking myself in my mind.
You stayed in Nigeria for how long?
From the age of 3-4 years until I finished my university.
3-4
years.
Till you finished your university. So you finished university in Nigeria?
In Nigeria. But so when I finished, I realized that because of my situation, if I come to Ghana, maybe it would be better for me.
Okay.
So I came to Ghana, and I remember...
You came to Ghana around what year?
1999.
1999?
Yes. And the moment I came, the first welcome, I remember I went to La Paz, and when I came down from the Tro, as I got down, I just entered the gutter street.
Oh, that was bad. You were not around that time having a white stick?
No, I wasn't using a white cane. In fact, I used to be ashamed of using a white cane, you know, because I had this feeling that portraying that I'm blind will make the enemy feel triumphant. Because I knew that this was caused by somebody. So I just wanted to find a way of overcoming it, but it was not easy.
Have you been hearing from your other brother?
He's also late.
He's also late?
Yes.
Where's the woman?
Oh, she is still at Nigeria. There's a family business that is doing well, and she's managing it and taking care of herself.
I see.
But she visits her family in Ghana quite often.
She has a family in Ghana?
Oh, of course.
Okay, you went with... Okay.
Yeah. In fact, she has 2 other children who are still there. I have a brother and a sister. And
she still talks to you?
As a matter of fact, you see, when she comes down, funerals brought her down, and this is a family thing, so we met at funerals on several occasions.
And how will she feel when anytime she meets you?
Let me tell you one thing. She knows very well how I feel about her.
Wow.
Because she knows that I remember everything that she's taking me through.
Yeah.
This is between she and I. The two of us know. So I remember at a funeral, we went up, we were told to come up, the family members. And whilst I was up sitting alone, she came and sat near me. And the moment I realized that she had come to sit near me, in fact, I was upset because I was wondering, why is she coming to sit near me?
Yeah.
And the next moment, she opened her mouth to ask me that. So the money that her son gave me, what did I do with it?
Really? You should. I wonder what you did. What was the response? You insulted her?
I became so angry. I nearly lost control of myself. And this is a place where there are people there.
So you couldn't insult her?
No. She wanted me to act in a way that people would say, this boy is a bad boy. I know her now. I know her very well.
I see.
She knew that she could push me.
What money was she talking about?
You see, my brother, my half-brother, her son, was an eyewitness to everything she did to me.
Oh, I see.
So that boy had always loved me with all his heart and wanted to make up for his mother's wickedness.
I get it.
Oh, yes.
I get it.
So the boy loved me in such a way that I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand. Anything I asked of him, he's ready to do for me.
He will give it to you.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when I came to Ghana, he had already come here 2 years ahead. He graduated 2 years ahead of me. You understand?
Yeah.
Because, of course, he doesn't have any problem.
Okay.
So, in fact, when he realized I was in Ghana, every month he tries to communicate with me and he will send me something.
Wow.
Yes, he wanted to support me. He loved me so much.
I see.
You know, but this story, I don't know what I have to talk about it. You see, I was spiritually disturbed. I wasn't normal.
Spiritually?
Oh, yeah, because...
Like you were having mental issues?
It was serious, my brother.
Wow.
I don't know what I had been taking through. But once I was doing my national, what I did was, the moment I came to Ghana, there's something told me that try and do your national service.
Okay.
And through that, you may get a job.
Okay.
So I went and applied for national service, and I got it at Ghana Tourist Board.
I see.
All right. So, but you listen, once I was at Ghana Tourist Board, I was with the statistics department, okay? Oh, the manager there loved you so much because I'm a kind of person that is, you know, likable. People always like me when they get to know me, to be frank, yes. And whenever I am given a task, there was this guy who realized that I was not seeing. You wouldn't know, my eyes are clear.
Yeah.
So when this guy realized it, in fact, sometime when we went out, he realized that, but you don't see at all. I will kick, I will fall, you know. So I was explaining to him that this is how we manage, you know. So always walk with me in a good path. I was a So whenever I'm given a task, he comes to do it for me on the computer because I don't see anything on the machine. And as at that time, I did not know that there was a package for people who are visually impaired as an ICT.
I see.
I didn't know. I didn't know that there was all sorts of things to help people who are visually impaired. I didn't know not about all this.
I see.
So he was doing all my work for me in national service. So now I started asking myself, this is national service. What about if I'm given a job? Will somebody do my job for me? So I started getting worried. Will I be able to work?
Yeah.
Will I be able to work? So the moment my national service was ending, to be frank, I was getting so disturbed. I was getting depressed because I was thinking too much.
I see.
When people are sitting together and chatting and laughing, I can't laugh. Your joke self will not be funny to me.
I see.
I was in a different state of mind.
Wow.
Just thinking, how will I make it? Because I can't do anything. You understand? I cannot use the computer.
I appreciate that.
So you listen on. Then one time, I met somebody in town. Somebody I do not know. And I asked the person, so what do you do? And he told me that he's a farmer. Where? He said, Ibrahim Mountains. So I said, so can I work with you? And he was confused. He said, oh, you want to work with me? I said, yes. So he said, okay then, fine. And I followed him from that moment. I didn't even go home. Straight to Ibrahim Mountains.
You didn't know the person?
I didn't know the person.
So why were you following?
I'm desperate, looking for a way out.
He harmed you?
This is somebody, he didn't harm me. This is somebody I knew was coming from a meeting of Pan-African something. So I knew that he's somebody who is enlightened.
Yeah.
But when he told me that he does farming at Ibrahim Mountains, and I said, oh, I would like to work with you. But I did not tell him that I had these problems.
Wow.
So whilst I was following him, I realized that I had to tell him because I could miss him.
Yeah.
The way he's working and following him, he could just disappear and I would not know where he is.
I see.
So I called him and said, please, the truth is that I don't see. So if you walk ahead of me too fast, I will not. So he realized that, so now he held my hand.
Wow.
And walked with me. So we got home at Hebrew very late and he took me to his house. And the wife was surprised. You come with this big man? For what? And he went in and said something to the wife. So you see, the two of them realized that this is somebody who needs help.
Yeah.
But they did not know what kind of help I needed.
They can give you.
So anyway, so all I heard was the woman was telling the man, then if that's the case, and he don't call in his farm.
Okay.
In fact, he lives on his farm and comes home when it is necessary, when he needs some things. Yes. So the next day he told me we'll go to their farms. All right. So he took me to his farm. You understand? And I was with him. As a matter of fact, being with this man for a couple of weeks transformed me.
Transformed you?
Yes.
But in summary,
spiritually, yes, I went through some serious spiritual process.
Spiritually, like a Christian type of traditional?
Christian, but not in the church. I needed concentration. I needed God. I needed some supernatural energy to bring me up.
So that man had that, found a way to connect you to that supernatural?
He found a way to connect me, but I was to do the work myself.
I see.
You understand? All I did was, I asked him whether he has his Bible. He had this King James with big characters. So I could actually keep my face so close to it and little by little. And one day I decided to fast. All right? I fasted the whole day. And when I was about to break it in the evening, something told me that I should take the fasting to the next day. I shouldn't break it. So I continued to the next day.
I see.
I didn't break it. So the next day, I was about to... The next day, I told myself, I'll take it to the third day. Then something told me, no, you are too weak. Break it this evening. That was the second day. So this is 48 hours fasting, dry.
I see.
And whilst I was fasting, I remember I wanted to look at a quotation and focus on it. And something told me, any page you open, all right? So I just opened, and I remember the moment I focused, I saw Psalm 54. And when I was able to get the first line said, "Save me, O God, by thy name." And the second sentence was, "And judge me by thy strength." Wow. When I read that statement, it made so much to me. So, wow, save me, O God, by thy name. That was the first time I'm seeing such a powerful statement. And judge me by thy strength. So, in fact, I kept meditating on that particular verse, Psalm 54. And that night, I had a very serious experience I had never experienced in my life. We were in the bush, his farm. I had a visitation spiritually.
Okay.
Because that night, a friend of his had visited him to help him. So we were 3, all right? So now we're chatting. And whilst we were chatting, I was about to utter something, and it was as if something seized my mouth. Something held me from behind not to talk, holding the words back. And before I knew what was happening, I collapsed. So these people were wondering, what's happening? They got up to try to help me. I had collapsed on the floor, and they did not know what to do. But whilst I was down, let me tell you what was happening. Whilst I was down, I realized that I was somewhere. It was like I was in a room, and I saw some people sitting on this side. I saw some other people like judges sitting on the other side, and I was at the other side. And this judge took his hammer and hit bang, and said, "Today you will die." This is what I heard. So it's like, it looks as if that statement was not clear. Then I said, today you will die. Then it looks like I began to realize what had been said. Then I said, no, I will not die. No, I will not die. So that was when I started fighting with them there. So fighting there, that was when these people were on me, realized that I was struggling. You understand? They saw me physically struggling and throwing punches. And one of them even helped me call for water. So somebody rushed and poured the water. They didn't even know how to administer the water, but it was a drop of water that touched my tongue. And I suddenly became calm. Calm, as if nothing happened. But do you know what happened? Something rose me up like they are raising a log of wood. Ooh. Something had come in me. The voice that was coming was not my voice. My body changed. It's expanded, muscular. The voice was somebody using a megaphone. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
so there was a lot of prophesying, a lot of singing.
Oh,
okay? Yes. So after a while, then one of them came and held my hand and said, my name is Papain. My what do you call it? Indigenous name.
Okay.
And one of them came and held my hand and said, Papain, you are back. So I said, back from where? Then he said, it's now that they are hearing my voice, that at first it wasn't me. So I said, So we sat down, and in fact we slept. Then the next day they told me what happened. So the man, that farmer, told me that I had broken the chains of death. This is what he told me. I said, Then he told me that I can go back to the city.
Wow.
But I told him that, but still I cannot see. My eyes are still like they are. Then he said, I'm healed. This is what he told me. So truly, I really felt healed. I got up and I was feeling so strong. Do you get my point? I actually got healed. My heart, my body changed. But just that the eye still remained the same.
Yeah.
So I was wondering,
how you wish it
why is it that these eyes are still the same? So he told me that everything is God's doing. Correct. He knows best.
All right, so let's see. You came back to the city.
So I came back to the city.
That was Takrade, Cape Coast, or where?
Accra.
You came
then
back
I was
to
at Accra. Yes, you understand?
You got a job there?
No. You see, this is a situation where I don't have classmates.
Oh, I see.
I don't have friends. And I didn't even know how I was going to penetrate.
So you were sleeping on the street of Accra?
It's not easy. I realized that there were clubs that didn't close. They operated till daybreak. There were times where I sat down till daybreak. I'm telling you. There were times when I had to join some boys. I moved, somebody showed me the way I moved to Nungwa with somebody. I have pushed truck of sand with somebody so that we can get something to eat.
I see.
And I remember I got that money, my body was so aching. I had to use it to even buy medicine. I said, I will never do this again. It hasn't been easy. But anyway, my first job, good job that I got, was with Standard Chartered Bank.
Standard Chartered Bank.
But look at it, I cannot see.
All right.
And unfortunately, instead of me to have gone to explain to the manager my problem,
you didn't.
I was ashamed and afraid that maybe if I do, they would just
so you pretended that you could see.
I pretended
and then
I
you couldn't
could see
perform.
And committed blunders.
Oh, I mean that was so bad. You should have told them.
Yes.
But I wonder. No, if I am blind and I enter the premises of the bank, they should be able to see. Or you are able to find a way to maneuver your way.
I'm a very smart person. Me that you see like this. I'm a very smart person. That's why my dad's stepmother did that to me. She saw the light, and she had to come and dim it. I know what I'm saying. I am very, very
So
smart.
it means sometimes you're able to maneuver your way without anybody recognizing that you are blind, even at the bank.
They all got to know that this one is not seeing well, but my manager did not know. But they were cooperating with me and even assisting me. So one time, somebody walked in and the person came straight to me and gave me a letter. Instead of me to have quickly passed it to my colleague, I was trying to force to read it. Not knowing my manager was watching me on the CCTV. And the way she saw that I was struggling to read the thing, and eventually the person was waiting until I passed it to somebody. She got so upset. In fact, she even embarrassed me at the meeting. I still did not even go to tell her my problem.
Wow. Your banking experience was so bad. All right.
Until I lost the job.
You lost that job?
Yes.
I see. And then you got another one?
I got another one.
Right, before we talk about another one, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Kwame Affair exclusive. We're taking stories of disabled who are living in Ghana and then the rest of Africa to appreciate their living or their reality. He has had some bad experiences going with a stepmother, and then finally he lost the sight. And then the social support is equally a challenge. But in the meantime, we'll pause for a while and then we'll come back and then look at how society also treated him after going blind. We'll be back.
Mami Sankama did it day. Mami Sankama did it day, oh daddy. Hi guys, my name is Adina Thembi and I want you to subscribe to Kwame Affair exclusive on YouTube. Stay tuned.
All right. All right, we don't have enough time. That's what we're going to do. Let's, in summary, look at what the Ghanaian society doesn't understand about people who are physically challenged, especially you
with blindness.
The blindness.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Do you know that sometimes I get upset? Can you imagine somebody calling and I will be thinking that maybe it's somebody who knows me, only that the person wants to offer me a coin, thinking because I'm holding a white cane, I am begging. That thing gets me so upset. Can you imagine walking? I know I'm walking straight to, I was visiting my children's school. I know this is Atakrade. I know once I stop at Sawmill bus stop, once I cross the road, I can walk straight to the school. And I knew that if there's any problem, somebody would like call me and say, hey! So I just kept going. I kept going. Not knowing I was walking on a cliff. That is not a place where people pass. And I did not know. So I just kept going.
Somebody shouted.
Nobody shouted until I took a step and dropped from the